So, good morning, everyone. Once again, you are welcome in today's social science video session. In today's lecture, we are going to continue with our civics chapter number 1, the Indian Constitution. So, in the previous lecture, you learned about various terms regarding constitution, and you come to know that a constitution is a document where rules are written and a country is governed according to those rules and principles. So it is a living document because you can change or amend it according to the circumstances. So we come to know that how the laws or the rules are made, how the rules are evolved. So there is an evolution and they are not just made in one day. Okay, so the constitution was also made by a group of leaders who formed the Constituent Assembly. Now, the Indian Constitution provides us with various types of rights and it keeps the government responsible before the people. It also safeguards the interests of various groups of the society and also keeps government under control or keep it responsible to the people who have chosen it. So it avoids the government to misuse its power. So now in today's lecture we are going to study about the main features or the key features of the Indian Constitution. Now first, the foremost feature of the Indian Constitution is that federalism. So our Constitution provides for a federalism in India. So now we will discuss about this, that what is federalism. Federalism is a system of government where power is divided between the central government and the state or regional government through a written constitution. And both types of government can act directly upon the people through their officials and laws. In India, we have governments at the national level as well as at the state levels. So federalism is a system of government or governance where the powers, that means power given to the government. So powers are divided in between the central government and at the state level. Okay, so you can see that at central level in India there is a government who sits in the parliament. So that government forms laws which are applicable to all the citizens of India. Okay, so central government has a list of topics or subjects on which it can form the laws. This list is known as the union list or the central list. So prime minister is the head of this government. Then at state level, you see that there are chief ministers of every state. Okay. So there is a state list on which state governments are making laws. Then we also have evolved or made a third level of government which actually work under the state government, but it is also a different level, you can say. It is the Panchayati Raj system. So this is the local self governments. Okay, Panchayati Raj is made for the villages. Okay, and in cities its equivalent level is the municipalities. Okay, or the local urban governments. So these are the elected bodies formed by the Constitution. Now, both the national and state government derive their authority and power from the Constitution. So, this is only the Constitution which gives power to the state governments and the central government to have power. Okay. So, Constitution provides power to the governments at various levels, so they rule the area under them. Okay. Actually, in practice, states are subordinate to the central government, though there are equal powers of central government and state government, but still, because it's a federalism, we are we are not totally federal country. We have some unitary features also. Okay. For example, if you take the example of China, there you will find that they are totally unitary country. Okay. So there are no division of powers at different levels. If you move, if you look at US, United States of America, then there they have equal powers. Okay, state governments have their own power. They can have their own constitutions. The citizens have double identity cards or double citizenship. But in India, you only have the single citizenship, that is Indian citizenship. Okay. So our country have a very unique form of federal system which is called the quasi-federal. Quasi means semi. थोड़ा सा federal है, थोड़ा सा unitary है. So the federal character of the Indian Constitution involves a three-way distribution of power between the national government and the states. This three-way distribution is listed under the union list, the state list, and the concurrent list. So Indian Constitution provides three types of lists on which the governments at different levels forms laws. Central list or union list is for central government, ठीक है, जैसे कि हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं. Then state list covers the subjects which are relevant to different states, and states can make laws on these subjects. Then we have concurrent list. So there are some subjects on which central government also need to form laws and state government also need to form laws. So such subjects comes under concurrent list. Now there are few subjects which are not mentioned in the central list, the state list, and the concurrent list. So these subjects are called the residuary subjects, and these falls under central government. So central government can form laws or make laws on residuary subjects also. In this way, you can say that in India, the central government is very powerful and very strong. It is powerful than the state governments. Okay. So this is our first feature of the Constitution, that it provides for federalism in India, federal government in India. Now, second key feature of the Constitution is that parliamentary form of government. So this is very simple, that we have the parliament, okay, where there are two houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is the house which is elected by the people. So people elect members of the parliament, only Lok Sabha. Okay. So for 5 years they are elected and the government is formed in Lok Sabha only. Okay. So if we like the policies of the government, we can choose the government again. But if we don't like the way government is working, then we can reject the government in the next elections. Okay. So central government, the government which is formed at national level with prime minister as its head. Okay. Now, three organs of the government and the system of checks and balances. Another unique feature of the Indian Constitution is that there are three organs of the government. Okay, you already know that there are three organs: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So, the work of the legislature is to make laws. Executive's work is to implement those laws. So, executive is the real government. Okay, legislature makes up the all the members which are selected by the people. Judiciary, the work of judiciary is very different from all other two organs because judiciary provides, it settles disputes among various parties, for example, between different states, between state and the central government, or even between the individuals also. So, judiciary's work is to provide justice to the people. So the president, vice president, and the council of ministers form the executive branch in India. Legislature refers to the members of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So it is the lawmaking body. Parliament is a lawmaking body. The judiciary, which comprises the Supreme Court, the High Courts, and the district courts, involved in the interpretation of law. लॉ को इंटरप्रेट करना, उनकी व्याख्या करना काम है जुडिशरी का, उसके हिसाब से वो अपने डिसीजन लेते हैं. Okay, so these all three organs work as a checks. They keep check on one another. Okay, they balance each other's power. तो इनकी जो पावर्स हैं वो अलग अलग हैं तीनों ऑर्गन्स की, और एक ऑर्गन अगर अपनी पावर का मिसयूज करता है तो दूसरा उसको रोक सकता है करने से. ओके, now the next most important feature is fundamental rights and directive principles of the state policy. So what are fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are the basic rights given to the people of India by the constitution, which cannot be taken away by the government. Okay, for example, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion. Okay, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of the drafting committee, called the right to constitutional remedies as the heart and soul of the Indian Constitution. According to this right, a person can move the Supreme Court in case of violation of his or her fundamental rights. So डॉक्टर बी आर अम्बेडकर ने इनमें से सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बनाया था किस राइट को? राइट टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रेमेडीज को, क्योंकि इस राइट के हिसाब से अगर आपके ऊपर वाले जितने राइट हैं, राइट टू इक्वालिटी, फ्रीडम, जितने भी राइट्स हैं, अगर उनकी वायलेशन होती है तो आप डायरेक्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अप्रोच कर सकते हो. So in addition to these fundamental rights, we are also being provided by the constitution with directive principles of the state policy. So these are the guidelines or instructions to the coming governments which will come in future and are ruling today, that how they will behave or how they will work for the welfare of the people. So these directive principles are non-justiciable, means you cannot move the court for directive principles of state policy, but you can move the court for application of fundamental rights. Next key feature is secularism. So what is secularism? Secularism is there when there is no state religion. Okay. So in a secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. So if you move to Saudi Arabia or any Arab countries, you will see that they have official religion. उनका एक ऑफिशियल रिलीजन होता है अपनी स्टेट का या कंट्री का. जैसे कहीं इस्लाम है तो कहीं क्रिश्चियनिटी है. लेकिन इंडिया में ऐसा नहीं है. इंडिया में गवर्नमेंट अपना कोई भी एक रिलीजन को प्रमोट नहीं कर सकती, गवर्नमेंट को सभी धर्मों को बराबर ट्रीट करना होता है. ओके, तो दिस इज कॉल्ड सेकुलरिज्म. सो नाउ वी कैन डिस्कस दीज टॉपिक्स इन डिटेल.